there, welcome to TALKIN Tabletop 5. This week we are talking about our top 5 favorite versus games. Now, these are games where you can play on a team together and have team versus team, but it is not like you're all trying to work together and
certainly not co-op.
Yeah, like it's definitely straightforward that it is this side versus that side, or this person versus that person.
Yeah, I kind of went about it by thinking there will be confliction between the players, whether it's like a battle royale or whether it's player versus player,
someone
team versus team.
Will lose.
There is conflict, definitely.
There will be a clear winner and a clear loser.
You're not shooting for points here. You're taking the other guy out.
Yeah. So starting with my number 5, this is a game by Flying Frog Productions, I want to say. Really great B horror movie theme, Last Night on Earth. Once again, if you are a fan of Will Wheaton's Tabletop, you've probably seen him play this with Garfunkel and Oates and Felicia Day, where we got the great Dr. Hannah. If you don't know what that is, then you probably haven't lived. But yeah, so it's a zombie survival board game in which you are playing through popular horror film tropes. You have the sheriff and the jock and the cheerleader and the goth kid and the farmer's daughter, and they're all trying to survive their last night on Earth. Including a card that alludes to essentially I think it's a zombie player gets to play it to stop heroes from moving, and it's if they are in the same location together, they basically skip their turn for that round, because this could be our last night on Earth. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, say no more, know what I mean? Get the Barry White. Yeah. Your number 5, sir.
Number 5. Mine is on the complete opposite spectrum of style of game and look and feel and everything, other than the versus aspect. Mine is a small 2-player Cosmos game. They came in their 2-player line.
I believe it's Thames and Cosmos now.
For some of the science stuff, yeah.
Yeah,
but so Thames and Cosmos, whatever it is. Kahuna, which they just recently reprinted, I think either a year or 2 years ago. It's real simple. You just have a number of islands, and you're getting cards to play bridges on those islands. If you ever get the majority of bridges, well, then you gain control of that island, and it's an area control. But what the conflict
you also destroy the other players' bridges.
The conflict is when you get the majority and gain control of it, all of the other players' bridges blow up, which means that might have a cascading effect to the other islands.
Like in real life, kids.
Yeah, it's just
when you gain control of something, destroy everyone else's stuff that's in your area.
Right, exactly, especially when lives are involved.
That's a little too real right now.
So, my number 5 is Kahuna.
Yeah.
Love that
really
game.
Really fun.
So cool.
Got kind of like a card drafting mechanic, if I remember right.
Yeah.
You're getting the different...
where
you're... different island cards.
Don't take iffy. Don't take iffy. Don't do it. Like, how about hoo-ha? Take that one. That's fine. Whatever they are.
Take my hoo-ha, please. Kahuna. My number 4 is a game by... I forget I believe it's Days of Wonder, if I remember right. Shadows over Camelot.
I was wondering what this was after you abbreviated it.
Yeah, I have terrible shorthand. So Shadows over Camelot, of course, the great Arthurian board game. Hidden defector role, but it is Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table moving to different areas trying to complete quests like getting the Holy Grail and collecting Excalibur and fighting Sir Lancelot and fighting a dragon and fighting the Black Knight and fighting armies of the Picts and Saxons and really, really fun game. Secretly, potentially one of you is working against everyone else. And it's one of those, like, there's always that earth-shattering kaboom moment when you realize who the traitor was and you're like, oh, of course you were this whole time. So really, really fun one. Really nice components. Got some cool little minis in there.
The production is... It's Days of Wonder.
It takes up a bit of table space because the main board is pretty good size, and then you have all the little additional quest boards. But that's not a bad thing.
Not too bad.
Yeah. So, Shadows over Camelot.
Yeah. My number 4 is The Resistance. Now this game is directly the spies versus the resistance, but they don't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No one knows who the spies
it's
are.
Agenda. Nobody knows who the spies are, except for the spies know who each other are. That's the only information. Every level you get more information. This was in, I believe, my top 20, or at least, I think this was in both of ours.
I think so.
It's an amazing game. If you've never played it, it's one of the best hidden role games.
Party games too.
Party games, yeah. It takes a couple games to get
versus
into it.
party.
Yeah, absolutely. But oh man, this will leave scars on your meta game for years, and it still has.
Danny's always the spy.
Apparently, somehow. Yeah. So.
So Resistance by Indie Boards and Cards.
This game has been renamed in my house. Danny's a spy. It's no longer Resistance.
We actually took magic marker and wrote that on.
Yeah,
we haven't told him.
Surprise!
Number 3, Dead of Winter by Plaid Hat Games. If you watched one of our previous videos in which we talked about Dead of Winter, then you already know what we're going to say. If you haven't watched that, then you should when this is done. So, again, it's essentially Walking Dead, the board game. You are playing on a team with other players, all as survivors in a colony, moving to different locations, trying to get useful gear. There's the last Long Night expansion that adds, it just triples the amount of replayability.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, one of you secretly could be working against everybody else. So, Dead of Winter, really fun. It's a Walking Dead board game that's good. But it's non-licensed Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So
you can't say that it's Walking Dead. Don't do it.
Yeah.
It's against the law.
Similar to, but legally distinct from Walking Dead, the board game, but good.
Yeah. Dead happened to be walking. That's all it is.
Yes.
So, my number 3 is chess for people who don't like chess. It's Onitama. Onitama is such a simple game. You have one elder, 4 other pawns. It doesn't matter.
It's like a general and 4 troops or something.
That's all it is. It's in a 5x5 grid, which immediately makes it good. And so all you're doing is you're playing a movement card. If you move into a space of your opponents, it gets captured. No, regardless of how big or what kind of piece it is, that's all you're trying to do. You're either trying to get your elder to the other side on the opponent's bridge, which is their centerpiece, or you're trying to capture the other person's elder. Very simple. But what's great about this is you have 2 movement cards in front of you at each time. Each player gets that, and you have a 5th one that's just sitting in between both of you. Whichever movement card I play, I will put in the middle, and I will take the one that's from the middle after that. So if I play the dragon, which will give me a strange movement, I move it to that spot. I give the dragon card available for you after your next turn. You will get that new card. So you're always trying to think a few turns ahead, but since the game is so simple, that's okay to do. I'm not a chess player.
There's a whole deck of these movement cards, but you only ever use 5 per game.
Yes, so
and the only
16 in the base.
The game only takes up it's in a box that big around and about that tall.
Yeah.
The only reason why it takes up that space is because it comes with a playmat. That is your board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
roll out
it rolls out like a
and,
scroll, and the production on it is really beautiful. And they're releasing an expansion for it that's in a smaller box that's like the same thing, and it's only 16 cards.
Yeah.
But why stop at that? Make it a good production.
Gotta stay on brand.
Exactly.
Keep those tall, skinny boxes.
Exactly. So my number 3, Onitama.
My number 2 is a game by Ankama and now Cool Mini or Not, formerly Japanime Games, Crossmaster Quest / Arena. Now for my top 20 video, we talked a lot about Crossmaster Quest. It is now kind of the competitive, cooperative, could be full co-op. Essentially, it is a MMORPG board game. It can be versus, where everyone's competing to be the first one to complete their track of victory points and win.
And Arena is definitely versus.
Arena is, is a 1v1 skirmish game.
Yep.
So it is my team of fighters versus your team of fighters, and whoever has the best strategy and dice rolls wins. So that is specifically the one that I mark for the versus as my number 2, because Crossmaster Arena is great. It is one of those collectible style games, but you don't have to worry about things like net decking, where if you play a Dice Masters or Magic the Gathering or Pokemon, someone can go on the internet, buy up the best cards, make this killer turn 3 win deck, and take all the fun out of it for everyone. This, because it's essentially kind of an abstract strategy because of the movement and whatnot and attacks available. There is no like kill-all team because every theory has an antithesis, so to speak.
Yeah.
Getting big words on this show.
It's about time.
Someone went to college.
Right.
This guy.
So my number 2 is a game called Android Netrunner. Now, Android Netrunner is a 2-player card game that is asymmetric, made by Richard Garfield of Magic the Gathering fame. So it kind of made sense that he would make a good 2-player card game. This used to be a collectible back in the day, and I guess it just faded away because Magic was so hot. You know, they couldn't compete. But Netrunner, Fantasy Flight remade it and turned it into a non-collectible game, just expandable. And it's so cool how it works. One player plays the corporation, which generally speaking you think of it as the evil corporation, but really that's a fine line.
Yeah.
You don't have to be an evil corporation. And then the other player plays a hacker. Only the corporation has victory points in their cards. They have agenda points. They have to get, first player to get to 7 agenda points wins. So how does the Netrunner do that? The runner has to make runs, which is essentially hacking it. And if they're able to find these and reveal them, then they're able to steal the points, stealing their agenda. And it's so cool how it works. The whole asymmetry of it. I like to give the Netrunner role to the people who are learning the game, and then the corporation for the little more advanced players. So I'll normally play the corp side and let them, hack away at me, because that just makes sense. You're just running and trying to do it. There's also different lose conditions as well. Like if the hand of the runner ever runs out and their hand is either to a minimum or maximum hand size of 0, or if they discard all their cards, which is how they receive damage, they would lose. Whereas if you ever run out of cards in your deck, if you're the corp, you would lose. So on top of that, it has like this whole
there's more than one way to
theme.
win or lose.
Yeah, absolutely. So it kind of adds strategies of causing damage to the players or finding ways to get rid of all their resources. So it's I love the game. It's so cool. It's hard to get newer players into it.
I want to say it was Fantasy Flight?
Fantasy Flight.
Yeah. So,
beautiful
Android
production.
Netrunner.
Yep.
Number 1. Once again, if you watched our top 20 videos, you already know what this game is. It is my number 1 favorite game of all time, bar none, hands down. If you think it would be anything else, you're wrong. And if you think that you have a better game, you're also wrong.
Except for my number 1.
It is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shadows of the Past. This was designed by Kevin Wilson of Arkham Horror fame and Descent and Awesome Kingdom and a number of other games. Also co-designed-ish by Kevin Eastman, one of the creators of Ninja Turtles. Based on the IDW Comics franchise, it is a really super fun board game in which it has a dice sharing mechanic where the dice that I roll, I take the end dice and set them nearest to my turtle brethren on my right and left, and it's as though they also rolled those symbols. So I get them as well as them, and then they do the same for me. So it's like I have 5 different actions to do in a round. And then one player plays as the villains, which are very often like Foot Ninja, or could be like Bebop and Rocksteady, or the Shredder, and they're doing bunches of expansions coming out. They've already essentially announced that the game is going to kind of follow the storyline of the comics. So like the base game itself plays through the first 4 volumes of the comics, so if you like Ninja Turtles comics from IDW, you need to play this game. Really fun versus 1. I don't think I've ever seen anyone walk away from playing a game and they weren't like immediately talking about how the game went and how if they would have done this, it would have ended differently.
Yeah. TMNT is nifty. Huge box.
Yeah.
Huge box.
Just the Works Edition alone is a cube, essentially.
It's as tall as it is wide.
Just
almost.
about.
Yeah. So my number 1 is Magic the Gathering Arena of the Planeswalkers. I am a recovering Magic player.
Yeah.
I stopped about 12, 15 years ago, and it saddens me that I can actually say that. That I remember I started about 18, 19 years ago, and I stopped ever since. But I still play every once in a while. But it's okay. But you're right. If people buy the right deck of cards, you lose, and it's a competition to battle. or a competition of money at that point. It's not fun.
Biggest wallet wins.
Yeah, biggest wallet wins, yeah. And I played against the first turn lose deck once.
Yep.
So I lost first turn. Fun. So Magic the Gathering Arena of the Planeswalkers, the reason that brought a lot of the lore back to me, and then you actually run as a Planeswalker. And it's incredibly easy to teach to a player. The beautiful production, there's 41 minis in the base set, and it's like a $30 game.
Yep.
You know, 6 huge boards, cards, dice, all sorts of great stuff. There is 5 numbers on every card. There's movement, range, attack, defense, and something else.
The other one.
The other one. But it's incredibly easy to teach. It's just you move that number of spaces, that's how far you can hit somebody, and then that's how many dice you roll for attack, that's how many dice you roll for defense. That's it. First one to kill the other Planeswalker wins.
Yep.
Ready to begin.
It is a tactical strategy skirmish game, much like a Crossmaster Arena.
Yeah.
But in this, rather than having your characters run up and hit each other, you have the Planeswalker, and they have minions that they summon that run up and do the same killing for them.
Yeah, the only real
Circling Rush style, kids.
Yeah.
That's an old reference. That's from like the era when you used to play Magic.
Wow, way back when. Yeah, no, the only real difference between this and Crossmaster, I feel, is that Crossmaster has a set amount of damage that might be augmented a little bit by your dice roll. Yeah. This is determined exclusively by the dice roll. So if you roll 3 swords, that's 3 damage, no matter what. So
if you whiff, then that's a wasted turn, and your friends will mock you.
Yeah, which I'm okay. I'm okay giving up strategy or a little bit of like defined strategy for that big aha moment. It's like, all right, I'm rolling 18 dice, boom, nothing.
Yeah,
it's like I rolled 1 defense, haha. You are thwarted. Basically, a giant funnel of fire engulfed him in flames, and he just found a rabbit hole. It's like, oh, tripped. You know, I'm safe. What do you know?
Gotta have space blankets. Kids.
Yeah, exactly. It was so beautiful. So my number 1, Magic the Gathering Arena of the Planeswalkers.
And bunch of expansions. Like, they are continuing through the lore. So they did Battle for Zendikar, and they did
a whole set.
Shadows over Innistrad.
Yep.
I think they're going to do one for, if not for Kaladesh, I think for the new Amonkhet.
Probably, yeah.
The new Egyptian-themed one. So yeah, they're continuing through, as far as I know.
As far as we know,
yeah.
We're hoping.
That was our top 5 favorite versus games. Once again, this has been Talking Tabletop with our top 5s. If you like this content, make sure you hit that subscribe button below, and we will catch you guys in the next video where we're going to talk about something else.
We'll get to it, yeah. We'll see you next time.